My pleasure. Sure.
Oh,
Do you want me to stop sharing screen for a while now and go back to it once I
yes,
actually start talking?
yeah. I hope that we see you in Red Sea soon. In Saudi, not
Yeah,
Sharm.
I also really hope that will happen. I've heard some flights will be resumed like in the mid of June.
Yeah.
So yeah, from Ukraine and from Egypt, like both. So we actually have a
Ready?
pretty good chances for that.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's check. We're on air now, and we're waiting the attendees. Let's check how many join. That's great. So, good evening, everyone, and welcome back on our weekly webinar. Tonight, we have a very special webinar with Nataliia. It's our first free dive webinar. Uh, I hope that we will enjoy free diving with Nataliia. She will talk about free diving and in general, and she will answer all your questions. Just to remind you, it's not a free diving course. We will talk about general freediving, and Nataliia, she will tell us how she became a championship. And welcome, Nataliia, with us tonight. And in Ukraine, it's Dobroho Vichora.
Ah, so nice. Hi, Ravi. Nice to be here tonight. Thanks for inviting. Hello, everyone. Yes, it's free diving talk tonight, and I'll answer as much of your questions as it possible. For a small introduction, I will tell about my story. How did I become a free diver? How I end up where I am now. Yeah, so you're welcome. I know, Ravi, you already received some questions. Maybe some of them will be also posted later in the chat, right? Is the chat available
Yeah.
for guys? Okay, so yeah, so that's be it. I can see the chat and also read it.
Chat is available, and the Q&A is available also.
Okay. Oh, I see that also. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. So shall we start?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, guys, I have a little presentation. So like to go through my story and not get lost in a halfway. Let me run it for you now. So here is the topic I'm going to talk tonight. It is my story how I've become a free diver, and more it's not like a story of success or failures, as you can meet a lot of them these days. You can hear or read or see or whatever. It's more about um, how actually like you can become a free diver, why, and this is my experience, because definitely there are like millions of ways how people end up diving with a breath hold into the depth, or just not even diving, staying on the surface with a breath hold. Those are very, very different and special stories for each of a free divers. Somebody has for example, like very common and popular one is to watch a movie called Big Blue from Luc Besson from 1988, and then because it's the movie about free divers, and then the free diving was booming after that movie, and many free divers became free divers watching that film. Then like some people see more like more contemporary, how you say, like nowadays thing, like Guillaume Nery's jumps or the short movies done by Julie Gauthier. You can you can go online and check all those guys, all those scenes if you haven't seen them before. So that those kind of inspiration. I'm not. My story was a bit different. I was kind of born to become an athlete, I believe. So for me, the story of freediving wasn't an inspirational story first. It was like an athletic story first, and then it became inspiration. So these days, like today, I can already like a little bit show off and say that I'm a like 6 times world record holder on all that stuff, a world and European champion, that I dove deeper than 100 meters on a single breath, and my breath hold is over 6 minutes. And another important milestone in my freediving career was to dive through the arch of Egyptian Blue Hole. If you don't know about it, I'll show some pictures later and also show the video of the dive. And the big milestone also in my life was to set up a free diving school, and I will go more into the details about how all this happened in the next minutes. So how it all started. As I mentioned before, I have a feeling that I was born to be an athlete. So this is my picture from my archive, like family archive. It's 1998, and that is my like very, very first medal in life. I started to swim when I was 6 or 7 years old, and I don't know why, I just loved it. Originally, I appeared in the swimming pool because it was kind of like healthy, you know, like every kid's got to do some physical stuff. But then somehow, naturally, without any like questions, I started to skip any activities in school, like I mean extra, right? I was going to the lessons, but I was not doing like dancing or choirs or hanging out with other kids because I was like so determined. I like, okay, school is done, I'm going for training. And then I was swimming, and that's how I earned my first medal. And that thing is kind of addictive, you know, since like you got the first medal, then you want more, and you kind of feel appreciated. And that's probably how I grew up. From it's I can say it's maybe very similar way in our world, like it would be before for warriors, for example, right? You gotta like train, struggle, and then go for the battle. So this is the nowadays warriors, like the athletes are nowadays warriors at some point of view. So once you got your battle and you want to win more. So that's how I got hooked up into sport. And I was swimming for a long time. And just to give you some idea, so this is 1998 and this is 2009, last year. It doesn't change much, right? So the same as like all these years, what is it? It's gonna be like over 21 years I was swimming, diving, and competing for some kind of achievements. I'm not saying it's like good or bad. Of course, through these years, my perception has changed a lot, and I have different ideas about why this happened and how this happened. I have a different aspiration now. If before I didn't know why I'm diving, I just wanted to win. Now it's all a little bit different. It's more like it's more like a path, I would say. It's like a way of life. It gives me some fun and like courage, right, to go through life with some fun. What can I say here? Some story behind. So between these two pictures, it's not only 21 years of life and training. It's also a story of that kind of faces when you were like, when I was a swimmer, I was in a national team, and that was like really hard job. It's not and this part of what I love about free diving, the same as it was in swimming, because you gotta work. So it's the way to develop your skills and to become better version of yourself. I know that many of you watching us now are divers, and Rabbi just confessed that he hates free diving. It's all about scuba for him. But that was also, like, I don't know what lies behind that, but for me, the very like important difference between free diving and scuba diving is kind of like when you scuba dive or dive with any kind of machine, like tech diving with rebreathers and stuff, it's all about how you operate the machine, right? So it's about your knowledge. But free diving is more like a sport activity. It's more about the skill, how you operate your own body, and that need to be trained. It's like a little bit different perspective of what is changing and what makes you the master. Like in the first case, your master if you know how to calculate and operate the machine. And the second, in the free diving or any kind of sport, you gotta actually go through many years to change your body, like physically, to become master. And like I see scuba diving, like it's different, right? You're not really changing much. You're maybe learning, but your body can stay the same and you will proceed. I might be mistaken because like I'm not a scuba diver, I'm not a tech diver, but since I spent lots of time in Egypt through my lifetime, and my partner and fiance is actually a tech diver, he's diving with a rebreather, I hear a lot of those things and kind of have
Did you
some
try
idea.
scuba before?
I hadn't, like my first underwater experience was maybe when I was like 12 years old. Me and my parents were at vacation, summertime vacation, and there was this like party was booming in Ukraine. It was like almost maybe like first or second year when the party dive centers started to open on the shore. And of course there was intro dives, and my father got intro dive for all of us, like for me, for my mom, and I was a swimmer. So when I had the fin, they put the fins on my feet, and I started to swim, and the instructor couldn't catch me because I didn't know. Okay, like I have this thing, I have the fins, and it just like he told me we go there, so I started to swim. Like I didn't like now I understand that the briefing was done really poorly. Now when I know how it was supposed to be, I have that understanding. So yeah, one time I've done intro dive. Another time it was maybe like 9 meters, because I still was wondering maybe it can be interesting for me. But then I was already a free diver, and this tank was behind my head. It was like all heavy on my back, like many like extra things, but I didn't know like why am I using it. It's way easier for me to go up and down, like breathing and diving, and then feel free. So I was already like hopeless free diver and lost for scuba diving completely. So I've never done back that road. So yeah, and that's about my scuba all the story. Like that's it. I don't know any more than this. So those days I was training, and then maybe this habit for training and knowing how to do it, and my I don't know. I would say it's a skill, because it requires some skills from you to know that you gotta work every day 2 times per day to get the results, to make your body work differently. And that would help me in freediving. This picture is a picture of 2009. And if there are some freedivers behind the screen, you might know already Alexei Molchanov and Nataliia Molchanova, and they both are presented at this picture. Let me try to zoom it in. So if you can see, like this is Alex. It's 2009. You should consider it's like how many years ago? 12, like 12 years ago. This is Nataliia. Here are some other guys who were like, some of them still competing, most of them are not. And like here is me in the middle with a stripe. That's a part of the history already. So then that's how those were my first ever competition in freediving. The same year, it was the very first competition for Ukraine in the World Championship in the swimming pool. That's our like first team, 4 of us. We were competing in pool disciplines, and it was like pretty much fun. And the big difference, what dragged me into freediving, is that the freediving competition are not the same as I remember swimming. In swimming, you were supposed to be like, I wouldn't say an enemy, but pretty aggressive against other competitors, and you were supposed to have this attitude like when you want to like go there and be aggressive and win everything and just like nail it. In freediving it was different, and it's kind of all the um, philosophy behind the sport is that you gotta become better version of yourself. So actually, as less you washing around is better for your performance, and that was something what dragged me into this activity. I was too tired, and in my core, I'm not really like aggressive person. Like I'm not angry, right? I cannot be aggressive towards someone. I mean, I can if there is necessity, but very rare. I can be pushy, I can be whatever, but like I can't hate people. Like I can't be aggressive against them. So it was something what freediving gave me the space to do. Like be competitive, like to compete, but at the same time not to be aggressive, and that's kind of fitted me pretty well. The next step for me was to start diving into the depth. That's the step what leads us through my story to the point where I am now. And that my first deep freediving championship was 2011 in Kalamata, Greece. These are the girls on the picture, like black suit on the very, what is this, like right side for me. This is Estrella Navarro home from Mexico. Then goes me in silver suit. Then you can see Alice Modulo from France, and Irina, her family name now is Veverka. She was from Russia. Now she lives in Czech Republic, if I'm not mistaken. Those girls are Club 57. Like in 2011, all 4 of us dove to 57 meters. And like you still can hear us diving. Alice done few videos, famous underwater videos for, like, if you know that, like, video with Guillaume Nery and her, Beyonce, and I don't remember the pop name guy, running the video clip, running very popular. Many people learned about freediving because of her performance as well. And I even heard funny stuff like, oh no, that is not real, like people cannot move like this underwater, is like all computer graphics, like cannot be true. And they were even asking me like my expertise. So yeah, that was like first world championship, and because of my swimming skills, I got pretty good results in no fins dive, and I think that year I was already like number 5 female free diver, like in ranking. So when I got this taste of freediving, that is kind of a nice thing to do, and I got the courage to train for more, my next task was to find the place where to train. Because if you're a freediver, you kind of like need to train like almost every time, because your body needs to adapt to depth. Like if you're diving deep, it's not like you can go, let's say, to train like once in a month for 1 week and then don't dive for a half year. If you want to improve your skill, you gotta train it all the time. So you gotta have a good place for this. And that place happened to be for me Egypt, Dahab. If you know this place, there are some pictures. I stole it from some picture stock, because somehow after 8 years living there, I didn't bother myself to get beautiful shots myself. So it's I'm pretty sure you, like most of you, probably know the place, because that's how I also met Freediving Club from Saudi Arabia, how I've met my friends, some of them who were opening like even free dive centers in Jeddah now. I mean, Mariam and like, and guys, there was like whole gang. We were training few summers together, um, and yeah, so I got to the place and I fall in love with it, because the hub is very special. It was a bit different back that days. Now it's a little bit more, like, I would say, hectic. But that time it was more peaceful, and I like totally fall in love and decided that I want to live here. So to make my living out of freediving in 2012, I got into my first instructor course. That was in Sharm el Sheikh, and it was with Umberto Pellizzari. You can see how many people like at the instructor course. That was like, first of all, it was fun. Second of all, it was not that much of, I can say, like, useful for first time instructor course. It was a very precious experience what the teachers from Apnea Academy shared with us. But I remember that I was like deadly tired. Like, we were diving 2 times per day. First time in like 9 o'clock in the morning, second time something around like 2 or 3 afternoon. And then on the fifth day, I was knocked out with like overtraining. I couldn't get up, and there was like not only me, it was like very tiring. And of course, in this physically exhausting trainings, you couldn't really absorb the information. So lots of like it took me a very long time to actually understand what they were talking, and read few more times the manual of freediving written by Umberto Pellizzari to actually get the information. However, 2012 was the year of my first instructor certification, so it was like, what, 8 years ago. This May it was 8 years. So I consider myself pretty experienced instructor, because actually I started to teach freediving even before that, but just like for friends and some people, who were not interested in like full course, but just asking questions. I had an experience, but I started to teach officially 2012. Then I shifted to AIDA, and currently I'm working with AIDA International, and I'm an instructor trainer. So become able to teach and certify instructors. And I really, yes, hope that soon we can get to Red Sea, because that's one of the best places to teach instructor courses as well. Like any kind
You
of
need to
courses,
try
but
this time Jeddah,
very
not
good.
Sharm el-Sheikh.
Sorry?
This time you need to try Jeddah, not Sharm el-Sheikh.
Well, maybe, yeah, maybe, who knows? Like, I got few invitations already, and we'll see how it goes. I'll be happy. I love to see new places, and I wasn't there yet, so why not? Totally can make it on my schedule.
You're most welcome anytime.
Thank you. We can talk about it. So the next afterwards, when I started to leave there, actually, let me make a step backward here and say that my first time in the hub was actually 2010. I spent a week there doing a free diving course with Nataliia Molchanova. And then that was the first time I ever saw the arch. And from my first time in the hub in Blue Hole, I dove to like 40 meters or something. So I was like 42. I was able to see the very tip of the arch, the one which you can see here in the picture. And I cannot really say that I set up myself a goal to dive through it. If you know, there are lots of like rumors and legends around this place. Like, somebody say that it's like very energetic and powerful. Somebody say that is like death wish hole, that people dying there and everything. I mean, it depends how you look at this, but I never felt like an urge to dive through it, although I knew it's kind of a challenging thing, and many people were like attempting, and till maybe last year when some accident happened during this dive through the arch thing. Free divers were diving, like some were diving with scooters with some help, like different ways. And then one day, my good friend from Ukraine, Alex Bubenchikov, he decided he wants to dive, and I said, yeah, okay, can I dive with you? Actually, can I try it? And as all the safety was already organized and decided, we agreed that yes, I should do it, and I did it. Here I have some video. I know that Zoom doesn't show it pretty well. I mean that it goes a little like slower, but I guess you'll be able to get the feeling. Let me scroll it a little bit and show it here. So this is the like, if you can see me here, the one with the monofin, the line was set like outside of the arch. So let me explain it a little bit here with this picture. So this bottom picture, I don't know if you can see my, my arrow, like what I'm showing, right? So this is the blue hole, like the hole in the coral reef. This side, closer to the open sea, this is the side where the actual arch is. So in this picture, you can see it here, where it says like 25 meters width, like wide. That's the arch, and this like outside of the sea. So that's where you're supposed to dive. Like you dive inside of this, like we call it like tube glass pipe, and then you go through outside. So this line is set at like outside, and I'm already ascending from that dive somehow. Yes. I'm not diving alone, as you can see. I mean, I was alone to go through the arch, but on this, like on the other side, there are lots of free divers giving a safety, checking my condition, and like all the procedure was coordinated. When I dove from the other side, somebody like gave a call, like go and meet her. So like it was very well organized dive. It was very trippy. It was very funny, because when you enter the arch, it kind of like, you know, tries to hug you and tells you, oh, come here, come inside, and you see all those visions. Like it's very funny. Like definitely you get some narcosis there. Yeah, so it was very cloudy day. Actually, there was no sun. I don't know how that would look with sun. But that's how it was. And I can say, if I ever have a chance to repeat it, I definitely will do, because, you know, first time you do something, you actually never understand what just happened. But then if you're gonna feel, like if you want to feel the taste of it, you gotta repeat. And I would happily do that, depending on, again, circumstances, because it's very hard to plan anything right now. So that was back to 4 years ago, 2016, pretty long time ago. And since then, I was still living in Egypt, training for the competition, teaching free diving. And then at some point, I realized that, oh, maybe that medals are not good enough for me anymore. You know, like I finally grew up, like from being a little kid who got her first medal like 20 years ago. Maybe it's time to move somewhere. And I realized that, yeah, like that's the thing I'm knowing the best right now is free diving. Why not to teach other people? I mean, not just living on the shore and like teaching people, whoever comes to you, but actually to establish the thing. And as it often happens, if you got the right thought in the right time, in the right place, you got the right people to help you. So the same time when I started to think about opening the school, a couple of my friends approached me and in Ukraine and told me like, hey, don't you want to actually move back to Ukraine and do the school here? And I was like, Yes, so that's the thing. We gotta do it. I didn't leave Dahab or Egypt immediately. It still took me like a couple of years to realize what is actually happening, because you should consider, like, I've never done any kind of stuff except trainings, right? I was training. I'm an athlete. I have no idea how to run school, how to run business, like anything. I've tried to work as an instructor in one of the schools, but that experience wasn't really much successful. I realized that it's very hard for me to work for someone else when I don't understand what's happening. Like somebody is telling me what to do. No, sorry, like I gotta run my stuff like myself. And yeah, and so that's how the school was born. The school is named Deep Division. It's alive now. It's like we're doing pretty well, like baby steps, little by little, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna make it. Like I'm proud of how it's going on. It died a couple of times already, but then was like reborn and everything started again. So yeah, that was 3 years ago already, and here I am. So in Ukraine, stuck in quarantine. I actually don't know would I prefer to be in Dahab these days if I wouldn't make this move from Egypt to Ukraine, how it would be. But something what I've learned through my sports career, never regrets, because every time you regret or you think or what it could be different and how it could be different, you're actually wasting time. It's not like you can change anything. Like you are there where you are right now. You like time doesn't go backwards. So but like every time, if you feel something is maybe not the way you want it, try to define why and make the things work right way. Like you have, like we have power for that. It just always build the future, never and like I would say never analyze the past, but it's also like not very the thing I want to say. Like you definitely should learn lessons, but don't get stuck too much in something what already happened. So yeah, and this is my way. I have page on Facebook. I have page on Instagram. Obviously, I invite you to subscribe. You will see lots of like I'm trying to find my balance between international and Ukrainian content, but I try to post it more or less like for everybody, time to time, to give something. So yeah, that is my presentation. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free. Yeah, I have also video from my 102 meters dive, but you, Rabbi, tell me if we have time for that, if we should go through it.
You can put it. Yeah, I'm excited to see it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was probably the, like, so far it's the deepest dive I've ever done in the competition. That was World Championship 2019, so last year in Honduras. What else to tell you? So this is the dive with monofin. Monofins are very like powerful tools. Let me drop the sound a little bit so don't hear her yelling. So monofin dives are usually the deepest, and with this dive I got to 102 meters. I'll pause it here. Let me get you through the screen a little bit quickly so you know what is where. So this, like in the bottom left corner, you can see the line, like it's any competition, like maybe for racing and stuff, like country, my name. CWT is the name of the discipline, meaning constant weight. So with a with a monofin, and I have amount of weight on my body what I'm supposed to bring back. So if I have 1 kilo of lead, I need to surface with 1 kilo of lead. If I lose it somewhere on the way or by some reason just drop it, I will be disqualified. So that's the rule of the competition. Then the next part 005 at this moment is the dive time. And then the next one, 102 meters, is the announced depth. So free diver in the competition always tells how deep he or she goes. Like we're making an announcement, so it's not like an open line and I dive whatever I can. Like the day before I go, like I'll try to dive 100 meters. I write down my announcement and then the judges make the starting list and I cannot dive deeper than I actually announced. We will see during the dive how it's made. Like this is the safety purpose. Yeah, and then you can see NR is national record attempt for Ukraine, and then are my favorite sponsors, Nataliia and Shearwater, president in this video, of course, like as Aaron says, shameless plug here. Yeah, let's resume the video. So I'm sorry, it's a little bit of technical things. Yes. So in the first part of the dive, I kick a lot, going down, because in the first meters, I will stop it time to time, like it's 24 meters now. And this is the point where I like where my body changed the buoyancy. Like before this point, I'm positive. So if I stop swimming, like the body will, like the water will push me away. After this point, I stop swimming and like I will start to free fall. And that's one of the best things in free diving. So I got my speed, and as you will see me in few seconds, if to be precise, I think like 3 more meters I'll be kicking, and then I stop moving at all. So I do, yes, the last kick with monofin, my arms are along the body, like I'm getting the position, so it will be most efficient and I won't create, like my body won't create a lot of drag, so not to lose the speed. So my task now on this point is just to free fall and equalize my ears. That's the only thing I'm actually busy right now with. It's like equalization and keeping my body straight. So the video done with the underwater drone called Dive Eye, it's like a little tiny, I mean, it's not really tiny, it's like, but it's a very smart thing what follows you, and there are operators on the surface. They're watching the screen and they like controlling it to go a little left or right, and it's filming and streaming. So all the big free diving competitions in these days you can see actually online. So subscribe for Dive Eye, CMAS, and AIDA international pages in Facebook, not to miss any competitions. It's very interesting to see how different people dive and what's happening.
How was your feelings?
I'll pause it here because it's like 3 meters left before I turn. The feelings in this point are very strong, I would say, because like from your body, you feel this pressure. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not hard. It's actually even pleasant because you gotta relax so much. You gotta be like flexible, you know, as much water squeezes you, as less you should resist to it and actually like accept whatever happens to you. And that is one of another big lessons from free diving, is not to struggle but adapt, you know, and learn how to adapt yourself to the circumstances. Because if you will be struggling with the pressure and with water, there is no chances for you to win. It's just silly, right? The only one thing you can overcome this thing is to play the game, like to play the rules, and the rules are be open and adaptive. From the mental side is also it's also very like trippy, I would say, because at this depth I'm already narked. Like you actually during free diving, you also feel narcosis. For different people, it starts from different depth, and most of us can get used to it. Like I'm one of those who are getting used to it. I wouldn't say quick, but I mean 3 dives to the same depth, and it will be enough for me not like to shift my narcosis for a couple of more meters. Before this 102 meters dive, I did 100-meter dive, and I was more narc than in this one. I mean, there are a lot of factors what influence the strength of your narcosis. But adaptation is one of them, and depends on how fast you react. So I'm going to resume the video now, and you will see the turn. I will stop there again also to give a little bit of more details. So here you can see the line starts to go like with many lines. So actually it's for free diver to know that he or she is approaching the turn, the end of the line. So it's kind of like the marks on the road. Then where I grab the line, there is the ball. And if you can see it, like on the level of my knee around the line, you can see something, right? Like some device. That device is called lanyard. You can have a strap attached to your arm, to your wrist, or to your belt. For some disciplines, you can attach it to your ankle, and it's a metal string with a carabiner on another side. So what happens is when you dive, let me resume it and you will see my turn. So I know this is the turn. I grab the line to stop. I grab the tag on this plate here in the bottom behind my fin. Yeah. So here is the ball, and my carabiner wouldn't go deeper than that ball because the ball will stop it. And the ball is set on the depth what I announced the day before. So that's how the safety rules are done, right?
You
so
should announce the depth before one day of the competition.
Yes. I mean, there are always a limit. Like judges can say, like announcements are taken till like usually it's 4 p.m. today. Then, sorry. Then they will do the start list like from 4 to 6, and then the next day you compete. But for different, like it's not mandatory. For different competition is different. But yes, that's that is one of the tricky things that you're announcing today, and tomorrow you can wake up with a headache or diarrhea or like not having a like proper sleep. And then you gotta actually figure out what to do now. Maybe like skip the competition at all or turn early, or you still can be fine. So it's one of the tricky things in freediving. So after I turned, I grabbed that, let me try to scroll it a little bit backward. Yeah, like this thing is the plate. You have many small things called tag attached. It's like a Velcro. Not like a Velcro, it's actual Velcro. You have one side of the Velcro, like mother part, attached to the plate, and another one you can have attached on your suit somewhere. So when you grab it, you attach it and you don't lose it. I still don't trust that things. I grab the tag and I usually put it in my hood, and I always have like my cheeks scratched after that, and it hurts in salty water. But that's my like warrior scar. So I grab the tag, I turn, and that's where the most important work probably starts, because okay, now you got there, yeah, good job, 102, but now you gotta get back actually. And that's where all your preparation, physical activity, your strength comes into work, because this part is the hardest. First of all, narcosis is hitting like strongly, but it's not actually a bad thing because it can be fun. It's like for those who like a little bit like different mindset, you know, it's actually a drug. Like people call, like some people who knows call free divers junkies, because that's one of the good reasons to dive for a deep dive is to feel narcosis. Then you gotta swim 100 meters against your body weight and against the gravity. When your muscles are already tired and under this pressure, you actually don't have proper blood flow in your extremities. So your legs getting tired like very fast. Let me try to stop it here and also brief you a little about what's happening. Wait, I'm getting a little confused. Yeah. So as you can see, at some point, there are people, safety freedivers, who are coming to meet me one by one. They know where I am because first of all, like we have this dive eye, so people like they can see they actually following the free diver. Second thing, what helps to track free diver and keep the safety on the proper level are the sonars, like those we use to find the depth or to track the bottom or to track the fish. The same way you can see free diver and like actually see what depth and how fast he or she is moving. And then the third thing to keep free divers safe is when we announce the depth, we also announce the time. And as you can see on the screen now, my dive time is 3 minutes 15 seconds. And if I remember it right, when I was announcing this dive, I said that my dive time is gonna be like 3 minutes 30 seconds. So they kind of know when to expect me close to the surface. They can do like some rough calculations. And then they have the queue, like first safety free diver meets me at 30 meters. Second safety free diver joins already 2 of us at 20, and then third at 10, and then another one like on the surface. So you end up being like 1 free diver and 3 or 4 safety divers, like talking about safety and how it is all organized, because I know freediving like consider it as a dangerous extreme sport. It's I mean, I wouldn't say it's like let's be honest, there is some part of extreme, right? Because you cannot calculate like everything, but the statistics of accidents usually done by not competitive freedivers. Like most of the cases, what you would hear would be about like spearfishing accidents, newcomers, non-free divers, just diving with a mask and snorkel. I mean, but not at the competition. Like the statistics of competition accidents is very small, very little. Yeah, so and when I surface, so another thing happens, like the positive buoyancy takes me on the surface. So I got there and I'm breathing and the dive is done. And you get to show this tag to actually say that you're okay. This from the old times when there was no dive eye, no sonars, and people were supposed to prove somehow that they were at this depth. So they would grab the tag and bring it to show to the judge. Now it's like more of a tradition than the real thing.
I'll start to have the questions.
Yeah, I'll stop.
Okay.
I'll stop the translation, the
Yeah.
demonstration of the
I
screen.
have the first question from Firas. He was asking, how does the daily training go in a pool comparing to open sea? Some of us live in Riyadh with no access to the open water.
Yeah, thanks for this question. It's a good one. I know it's very like actual topic because many of us, like me personally now, I also live like with no sea, close to the pool, and even pool is closed now. So gotta manage that. So normally, like there are some routines you can do in the swimming pool what will help you to be better in depth. I can recommend to start with statics. Static breath hold is a very important part of any freediving performance. So you can actually be relaxed and learn relaxation. It's like we through the lifetime we always we're learning how to be tense and how to like be like the fastest, the strongest and everything, but we never learn to be relaxed, and that's the most important thing you will need in deep free diving. So and that you can train in static in the pool. So I recommend to start with static, then maybe like add some good proper fin swimming technique, and you'll be ready for deep diving better than nothing, like for sure. That would
That's
be the beginning.
that's the second question from Reef. This question is, what years did you won the world championships and how deep were you dive? Which would be easier for a free dive, a monofin or the carbon fiber regular double fins?
hmm. Also nice question, thanks for that. I'll start with the fins and then get to my results. So it depends what you consider easier. Like monofin would be harder uh, to adjust the technique because it requires some time before you will start to feel yourself confident with this movement with the monofin. But it is more efficient. Like once you learn it, it's easy. I would say if you're ready to dedicate half a year, like 3 to 6 months to monofin technique, it will pay back. The dive will be easier, and you will go you will have more power for the dive. To begin with, the bifins definitely easier. Carbon fiber definitely easier than plastic fins or fiberglass. But also like for the beginning, not necessary, I would say. Like in the beginning, you can start even with plastic fins to learn, but and then switch to carbon. But it's like material is totally up to you. So to learn bifins easier, monofin harder, but in a long-term perspective, monofin will give you more efficiency. So I hope that was an answer for your question, if I got it right.
Iras is asking, in how many disciplines have you achieved your international records?
In how many disciplines? So my world, like my European records, actually all of them. Like I have world records in bifins and no fins. I haven't set world records yet in monofin and free immersion, but I don't know. I was going for it this year, but this year is like a little bit different now. Like I don't know how it's gonna be further. Yeah. So two of the disciplines were my main things. I was diving bifins and no fins. Yeah. So yeah, and that was the question about the years. What years did I won the world championship? Like 2000, like my first world record was 2017. It was Kash, Turkey. Those were bifins, two medals, bifins and no fins, but that was like European championship, but with world records. And then every year, like since then, 2017, 18, and 19, like same medals, same records, right? I'm pretty sure. Like, don't remember. Mm-hmm.
Any more questions, guys?
Yeah, I'll be happy. Also, like if you'll get some more questions during like next day, maybe just Rabbi and pass me. Right?
I have a question, but I cannot translate it as an Ukrainian, but and it's in the Q&A, to be honest. If you can open the Q&A and check it. Did you see it?
No, I see only
Okay,
English.
in chat. I'll copy and paste it in chat. I cannot translate it, to be honest. Let me, okay, I just put it. What?
Okay, this this question, what you translated to me, is the question: if I'm a mermaid, what do you see in fairy tales? Is it what it means?
I don't know, to be honest.
Okay, maybe, I don't know. It depends. If you read tales about me, then it's me. If it's not about me, then it's not me.
He said yes.
Yeah. Okay. Then, very sweet question. Thank you.
Ooh, I have. Let me check. Also, my personal. By the way, we have with us a master instructor from IDA.
Yeah. Who is that?
Captain Zakaria, Captain Mahmoud Zakaria.
Yeah, Captain. Ah, yeah, I see. Hi there, Mahmoud.
Yeah, he's from a master instructor in IDA.
That's
Ahmed
great.
Al-Gitmi, he have a question. I want your advice. I have a problem in equalizing after 10 meter while I'm using Fresnel teaching. However, what do you advise to solve this issue?
Yeah, equalization issues in that depth are pretty common. So don't get like too much stressed about it. It happens to almost everyone. So the like, let's say, classical recipe to solve that, first of all, work in your relaxation, because that's most of the time what happens like when we stuck with depth, is just lack of relaxation. Check your like body position, how you actually control what's happening. Practice a lot of equalization. So like actually you can equalize it even like on dry. So every time you have a minute, just pinch your nose and do like lots of quick equalizations. Like Aaron, my friend, said he had a broadcast with Kirk Crack, if you heard of him. He's famous also freediving instructor. His recommendation was like to do 200 equalizations per day. I mean, you can count it, and then it will maybe motivate you to keep the number or to grow the number. So actually can be the option. So yeah, equalization issues are most of the time relaxation and technique. So for relaxation, do statics. For technique, just do repetitions even on dry. Start with that.
I have two more questions. In general, what do you learn in free diving course? What are the things that a student is taught?
Nice one. Thanks. I see Omar asked that question.
Yeah.
So there are different agencies who teach free diving. However, I would say that they teach more or less same things. They will teach first of all the safety, like how to do it safely, and how to do it responsibly. To know those things, it's not only about the rules, right? It's also about physiology of freediving, like how breath hold works, why actually it is extreme sport. I'm sorry, what could you expect? Excuse me for a second. So it's all this set of explanations why you must behave exactly this way, how you breathe before diving, how you breathe after diving, how you perform same breath hold, technique in like diving with fins, like what is the technique, like all kind of things, how to work with your diving body, what happens in your blood, in your brain during the breath hold, like all those things. And as you grow the level of your free diving, you will add new information to it. At some point, you will be taught how to train in free diving. At some point, you will be taught how to dive deeper than like 30 meters, and so on. Like instructors also learning. Like instructors are same free divers, just now they need to teach, like to know how to teach other people. So there is like hold the world behind. Of course, any course depends on the person who teaches it. Like same course can be taught by different instructors. Some are newcomers, some are more experienced. Some can share experiences, some teach like the standard thing and like no more than that. Everything what goes beyond goes for money, like different personalities, different stuff. But in general, I recommend to take the course. It's definitely worth it.
Would you recommend equalizing exercise in the pool? If yes, what kind?
Depends on how deep is your pool. Basically, like item, there are a few exercises you can actually do. If your pool is not too deep, one of the things is get your diving rope, what you use for depth, attach it to the bottom weight, drop it on the bottom, so actually you can turn heads down, and just hang there at the depth and keep equalizing. And with every equalization, it just release a little bubble out of your nose. But again, remember, like you never dive alone, right? There should be somebody watching you doing this. And then like every time you release a little bit of air, you will feel kind of like the same if you would be diving. Like if you dive, amount of air always decreasing because of pressure, and here you will imitate that decrease by releasing a little bit of air. It's just one of the exercises. I can maybe explain more or less clearly online. So, but again, I beg you guys, never dive alone, please. Only with experienced, reliable free divers.
Isam is asking, he tried free diving but couldn't equalize my ears except by pinching my nostril. What could you be a solution to equalize properly?
But actually, pinching your nostril is the proper way. Like there are some people who can equalize by not closing the nose, like not pinching the nose, but that's more like exceptions. It's pretty normal, and that's how you should do it. Everybody, you will see everybody equalizing pinching nose, so that's not a problem.
Is there any training you can do in free diving for relaxing before you go to dive?
Yeah, sure. There are practices like you can there are lots of them online now available. I won't like I don't want to like spend too much time on this, but any kind of relaxation music and the like easy breathing, like nothing special. Like don't breathe too quick or too short or anything. Just normal relaxation is you imagine you're trying to fall asleep. Yeah, you're sleeping, resting with a nice, pleasant music in your ears, and that would be the easiest one. But if you're interested, I try to recommend, or I want to recommend to read it because there are pretty much different stuff from yoga, from like relaxation. There are even applications now for your phones, iPhones, and like in smart, like any kind of smartphones would help you to relax. You can find it.
Is hyperventilation recommended before free diving?
No, that is actually strictly forbidden in any training agency what teach freediving these days. You will find like big paragraph saying that hyperventilation is dangerous for freediving. So please like stop doing it. It has the explanation why it actually tricks your body. You become less aware, and hyperventilation is actually um, making the risk of blackout higher. So it's not a good thing to do. Avoid hyperventilation.
How many free diving courses are there? Sorry, a curious rescue scuba diver is asking.
Yeah. So in also different agencies would have a bit different levels, but more or less standard are four. So it will be like introduction, it will be like introduction into free diving. It will be like basic course like the one, then advanced, and then kind of expert level, and then will be instructor. So that's how AIDA is built, and many organizations are built more or less same way.
That's great. I think we're done. Okay, last question. What the most amazing creature you saw in the middle of a free dive?
Nice one. The most amazing, I was very amazed by mantas. That picture of freediving instructor freediving course I showed in 2012. That was the time when when I actually met mantas. Was my first time. Since then, I've tried to catch them like in Indonesia and Bali, but it always like murky water. You can't really see them. But that time it was the bay of Sharm el Sheikh with very transparent water. And I was at 40 meters depth doing my turn to go on the surface. And during the turn, I saw something like somewhere on the horizon moving. And then like I opened my eyes and I saw there were two, and they came into the warm bay for food or something. There was like most likely like couple of mantas. Um, but I was so surprised. I didn't expect that to happen. And I got lost a little bit if to stay and watch or to surface, because it was kind of like 40 meters depth, not that easy that time for me. So I decided to surface. And next time I dove, they were already gone because many freedivers saw them, and that's something weird because when freedivers, not only freedivers, everybody will see the sea creature and everybody jumps like trying to catch the picture, to touch it or do something, and the poor creature becomes like scared and runs away. So in the end, like nobody's watching, creature is stressed, and like there is nothing nice out of it. So also be please responsible and don't scare the sea creatures, just watch them.
Nataliia,
Yes.
спасибо Vanza.
Yeah. Thank you so much too.
Thank you. Thanks for you. Thanks for accepting our invitation.
Thank you guys
I'm
for a nice
excited now.
for
I'm
invitation.
excited to go free diving. I have many friends in Jeddah. They are instructors. And now I think, I don't know, I think I'll call Zakaria, Captain Mahmoud. He's an AIDA. I'm excited to be an AIDA, to be honest.
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
go for it.
especially I think they are organization, free organization or something. He told me, right?
It's not like free, but I mean there are options. They have some benefits, definitely. Yes.
Yeah. By the way, we have before I
Yes.
close, we have a free diver with us. She is Nada. Nada, she's a future championship. I'm sure 100%. Her instructor is Mahmoud
Yeah, go for
Zakaria.
it.
I think she did 42 meters or 43 meters now.
Nice.
Yeah. So we have a future championship with us. Yeah. Hope to see you again. I would like to remind everyone that tomorrow we have a webinar about turtle conservation and everything about turtles in the Red Sea. So you're most welcome.
Nice. Maybe I'll join too.
Yeah, I'll send you the link.
Yeah.
Thank you again and good night.
Good night. Thank you. Bye bye, everyone.
Thank you so much.